Hey everyone, this is Matthew Kent and Merry Christmas 2018. I wanted to shoot a video because there's part of Christmas that stresses me out. I love Christmas. I love the trees. I love the lights. I love the singing. I love the time with family. I love, even the gift exchanges. But the part that always stresses me out is the shopping, the getting gifts. And it feels like there's so much pressure because Christmas is a holiday that in our culture is primarily known because of the gift giving. And so it becomes this thing where you have all these people that you need to get gifts for, and you're like, how much money is this going to cost again? And there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety around it. And so I just wanted to give some thoughts about how to take some of the stress out of the holiday shopping season, so you can focus more on the things that are important, like faith and family and friends. And so I have 4 thoughts I'm going to share with you about, and I think this will work on any budget. Most of these things are really cheap, and a way to get a little bit more thought and intentionality into your gift giving, and also take some of the stress out for yourself. So here we go. My first tip is to try to find a way to focus on experiences rather than things. So we all have this kind of idea, and I think it's a mistaken idea, that if we just had more stuff, we'd be happier. When in reality, I think if we had more stuff, we'd probably be more miserable. Most of our houses are too cluttered. We have too many things, and things don't add as much value to our life as we expect. So the one strategy is to focus on experiences rather than things. So for example, my mom's birthday was in November. And instead of giving her like a little trinket or something to clutter her house with, we got her tickets for her and for us to go see the ballet, Cinderella. So, that's something that we probably would have, either not gone to, or maybe just us, my wife and my kids would have gone to. But we said, hey, we want to go with you. And so again, instead of just like a little useless thing that breaks and eventually gets thrown away or returned or whatever, we gave her a memory that's going to last for a really long time. And the tickets were pretty cheap too. The ballet from, it's a dance company of Gainesville down here, and it was like $12 for a ticket. So depending on how many people you're buying for, right, that can get expensive. But there are ways to give experiences that are cheaper. The second piece of advice that I'd have is to try to get somebody something that they will use up, something that's consumable, right? Food is great here, and tasty food, desserts, chocolate works really well here. So that's why I found this company recently, Askinosie Chocolate. And this is like ethical, like made from scratch chocolate, where because it's like interesting and unique, is what makes it a good gift. Is you can't go to the grocery store and like buy this. And this packaging, this is the hot chocolate, the sipping chocolate they call it. It's dark chocolate, and buttery white chocolate and natural peppermint made from scratch in their factory. And you see here their packaging is kind of cool. It's like this very minimalistic, just like a little canister, and they actually have a sheet of paper that they printed out all the info on, and they put it on with a rubber band. This is like so cute. Makes such a good gift. But Askinosie Chocolate, they don't pay me or anything. It's just a company that I found and that I like. You can go get somebody sort of a unique original gift. I think you have to have like a minimum order amount to get the free shipping. So it's one of those things where it works better if you're probably getting gifts for like 2 or 3 people. You can get them some nice dark chocolate or some peppermint bark or some of the hot cocoa. But yeah, if you're going to get somebody stuff, try getting them stuff they can use up that won't eventually clutter their house. Or if you're just really sold on that idea of getting somebody something physical that's going to last, I think I have a couple suggestions. And there's ways to do all of them cheap. Of the gifts that I'm going to show you in a second here, I think 2 of them are $10 or less, 2 or 3 of them. One of them is $20, and one of them is a little bit more expensive, $100. But the third tip that I have is to get somebody a gift that brings people together. So too often the stuff that we have sort of takes us apart. We're all sitting there looking at our own screens. So I think it's worth thinking about gifts that actually bring people together. And one of my favorites is this little card game. It's called Dutch Blitz. It says, Dutch Blitz, a wonderful good game. And very fun, very colorful game. The lots of colorful cards, very fast paced. My wife loves this game. Her side of the family loves this game. We play it whenever we get together with them. They kick my butt. Sarah kicks my butt at this. Marriage tip, free marriage tip for you. One key to a good marriage is to routinely do things that your spouse is able to kick your butt at. And yeah, for me, that's one of them. Another one that I'll put along these lines, it's a lesser known game. It's called Set, very fun puzzle solving game. I didn't look up the price on this one. The other one's like $10. This is probably pretty cheap though, and also a lot of fun. And these are nice because you give this to somebody on Christmas, and you can unbox it, and it's very simple to just get started playing immediately and start making memories and having fun right there. Another one, you guys might laugh at me for this one. It's okay. I'm going to suggest it anyway because this is really a good gift. A frisbee. Now, I'm a bit of a frisbee nerd, so I know that this is not actually called a frisbee. Frisbee is a registered trademark of a company called Whammo, which is not the company that makes this one. But if I said flying sport disc, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to call it a frisbee. This is the Discraft Ultrastar 175-gram flying disc. It is the best frisbee you can buy. I guarantee it. Get it in white though. This is the glow-in-the-dark one. Get it in white. Glow-in-the-dark is a second choice. But this is so much fun because, I mean, playing catch is one of life's great joys. And it can lead into the sport of ultimate, which is probably the best sport ever. I'm a little bit biased there. But, throwing a frisbee is a lot more fun than I think people give it credit for. Everybody kind of knows that this kind of throw, but there's a lot of different ways to throw a frisbee. And you can find a lot of them by looking up tutorials on YouTube. I'll put links to some of those. But this is one where people will have to come together, right? It takes two to play catch, and it can be a really fun sort of flow experience getting into learning how to throw for real and practicing all the different throws and stuff. So it's like $8 to $10 for a really good frisbee. Cheap, works within your budget. Don't sleep on the frisbee, guys. Good gift. Any young boys that need to get outside and get some exercise, frisbee, ideal gift. The final category of gift that I want to mention is one that has the potential to really enrich someone's life. Too often I think we get people gifts that they're just going to really enjoy, that has lots of features and bells and whistles and looks fancy, but it doesn't really enrich their lives, and in fact it mostly just sits unused. So a couple that I think have the potential to really impact somebody's life for the better. A nice journal. Even nice journals are pretty cheap. This is the Leuchtturm 1917, very nice. About $20 on Amazon. I'll put a link to it below. And of course, my most popular videos are videos about bullet journaling. It's a habit that I've had since 2016. It has enriched my life like no other. Journaling is a keystone habit, which means if you're trying to make changes to your life and gain new healthy habits, this is a habit that you can start with that makes all the others easier to pick up. So definitely a journal, $20, something that is going to potentially change somebody's life forever for the better. Last one that I'll mention, this one's the expensive one, about $100. This is Amazon Kindle Paperwhite. This is actually the older generation, the one that's not waterproof. The new ones are waterproof. But listen, reading is one of the best habits that somebody could have. Reading, think about this. It takes somebody potentially years to write a book. And that's just the writing of it. The experience that they needed to write that book was potentially decades in the making. And you can gain all of that knowledge in less than 8 hours of reading their book. So books are about the highest quality input that you can have, way better than, tons of random little shallow blog posts and things of that nature. Some blog posts are good, but in general, you have to sift through a lot of cruft. But yeah, when I first got my Kindle, I said, this is awesome because it's portable and it's minimalistic. I don't have to have a lot of books around. And it's the second best reading experience to an actual book. Well, I need to take that back. It's the best reading experience, period. Don't get me wrong. I still love physical books, and I love the smell and the feel, and I love having a book on the shelf. You can look at the spine and remember reading the book. But the proof that this is a better reading experience is the fact that there's books on my shelf that I haven't read. I've waited until I could get them from the library to put them on my Kindle to read them. And actually, that's the cool thing about a Kindle is there's an app called Libby, which is like a female name for library. They have a little like avatar of like a little girl. But you can log in with your library account, your library card number, and you can check books out of the library and put them right onto your Kindle. So you can literally be sitting there in the living room thinking like, man, I'd like to check out this book. And like 30 seconds later, you're reading it on your Kindle, which is absolutely amazing. Reading is one of the best habits out there. I read something like 52 books this year, and I'll probably read more before the end is gone. And 30 of them have been on my Kindle. So this is now the primary way that I read books is through my Kindle Paperwhite. It's a perfect piece of technology because it doesn't do too much. There's no way to get distracted here, right? You can't check Facebook. You can't do any of these things. You can read books, you can buy books, you can rate books, and you can take notes on books. And that's about it. And that's perfection as far as I'm concerned. So about $100, depends a little bit on the deal you find and if you get any accessories with it or that kind of thing. But this is an absolutely amazing gift to get somebody if you have somebody that you need to pay a little bit more for. Another thing you can do is just come up with somebody and have a mutual agreement to get something small. So if you feel like there's pressure and expectation to get somebody like a really big gift and you're just not up for that kind of thing, you say like, hey, this year, why don't we just not get each other gifts? Or instead of getting each other big gifts, why don't we just get each other some candy? And so that's actually what Sarah and I are doing. We've said no gifts for each other this year. I'll get her some candy I know she enjoys. She'll get me some candy I know I enjoy. And so we'll have some fun candy that we're eating while the kids are opening the presents on Christmas morning. I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, those are my tips. And again, the whole point of this is to sort of take some of the stress out and give you some good ideas to make a more memorable, enjoyable Christmas experience without the stress on the front end, so that you can focus on the things that are more important at Christmas, like faith and family and friends and building memories and coming together and those kind of things. So I hope you get all that this Christmas, and I hope this video helped you. Merry Christmas.